Guys, 2 other head coaching vacancies gone. Raheem Morris going to the Atlanta Falcons, used to be the Tampa Bay Bucks head coach way back then. And then Dave Canales, Tampa Bay Bucks offensive coordinator, is going to Carolina. I'm scared for him. I'll be honest. I'm a little nervous.
I like it.
I like it for him. Okay, let's start with him.
Yeah.
The Panthers have a new head coach. He's a very bright mind and obviously helped Baker Mayfield out tremendously. They had a great season, but he's going into a tough task where his job is going to be solely, can you fix and lift up and bring to the highest potential Bryce Young, Zach? And I know you love Dave.
Yeah, no, I was actually wanted Dave to be the Ravens offensive coordinator this year when that was kind of he was with Seattle. I want to say he was the quarterbacks coach in Seattle last year.
Correct.
Ends up getting the job as the OC in Tampa Bay. My biggest hope, and I guess I don't want to say it's a fear for him, I just hope they don't give him a short leash like they did Reich. Because he's a young head coach. I give him time to go out there and fail because it's a young coach, a young team. I hope they get him some more talent, especially for Bryce Young. Like, get this man some protection on the line and get him some more receivers than Adam Thielen, because poor Adam Thielen has to get like 15 targets a game at his age. And I know that was not what he was really hoping for when he was going to Carolina, was having to put his body through all that. But I just hope that they slow it down. Don't expect that this year is going to change everything, and really just put building blocks on for Bryce Young to just keep improving each week, kind of like how we've seen Baker Mayfield this year.
Yeah, well, I mean, Baker Mayfield, it's been tremendous. And you brought up Frank Reich, canned early on. And this was a staff. You have Bryce Young, and we heard the reports and rumors. Was Frank really, did he really want Bryce Young? Was that his guy? And you heard all the talk around CJ Stroud. Doesn't help that CJ Stroud is now the superstar. He's not a superstar in the making. He is a superstar for the future for the Houston Texans. But Kevin, it'd be really nice if the Panthers, had a first-round pick, maybe the number 1 overall pick to work with. But this is the challenge. This isn't a situation that he's going into where it's making you feel good. I mean, the Carolina Panthers, there is so much work left to do, and it's going to be hard to do it through the draft early on.
Yeah, they've got some work to do. And in order to make this hire for Carolina, I think you would at least have to talk to Canales about, look, the assets we have right now, we moved them all for this guy in Bryce Young. So we're going to have to try to make this work here. And that was a big question for me, was would the guy coming in to Carolina be a Bryce Young guy? Because we've seen it where a team will draft a quarterback high. They'll take a coach maybe the year after, and the coach won't want the quarterback. And then all of a sudden it becomes, well, the quarterback is cast off and it's a bad situation.
Josh Rosen.
Exactly. So in Carolina, you got to get him some weapons. I mean, Zach's exactly right. They didn't do I think they tried, but the vision just didn't work out. I mean, Miles Sanders was a disaster over there. Hayden Hurst had some moments and then had an actually pretty scary injury that happened. So for me, I feel like you get a wide receiver in there, but now it's a challenge of recruiting free agents to Carolina, getting a guy in there because you don't have a first-round pick to go spend on something like that. So hopefully, I mean, Canales has had a rise, pass game coordinator in Seattle, Russell Wilson, really good things to say about him. Obviously, with Geno Smith, he was kind of the architect behind that comeback year before going to Tampa to be the offensive coordinator. And obviously with Baker, that whole thing has been a great story. So he's had this kind of meteoric rise here. And this is what we've seen, these younger offensive minds coming in and hopefully turning a young quarterback's career around, because the rookie year for Bryce Young was all over the place. Putting a rookie in that situation, sometimes it is about, the culture and what's around him. And if there are so many distractions, like what happened with Frank Reich and obviously some of the owner stuff too, it can hinder development. So I'm hoping that this can be what Bryce Young needs to take the next step.
Yeah, I mean, and Nick and Rock, I'll set you up here next. But Nick, being in a locker room where, I mean, you luckily so far in your career, you spent time with Baltimore. You've seen this culture. When you're looking at the outside, not only is Canales tasked with getting your franchise quarterback to take off, you have to convince a group of men in there that he is the right man for a job on an organization that all they have seen is failures since really the Cam Newton era down there in Carolina.
Yeah, I think he definitely has his hands full in Carolina. They've had issues for the last several years, like you said, and I think, coming into a new system like that with a young quarterback, kind of central focus of the team, The whole team is relatively young. He's definitely got his work cut out for him. But again, he being in Tampa this year, he really turned around Baker and really got that offensive going, because they kind of struggled even last year. And Baker has struggled, the last several years. And so I think what he was able to do there, if he can continue to build on that and take that into Carolina, I think, they can be a good team. That division isn't that great. I mean,
wide
let's be
open.
honest. The three teams at the top were what, 8-9 or 9-8, with the Bucks winning it. So, they're a couple games away from being in contention in that division. So it's going to be fun, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I have to wonder. I wish they would make this public. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. There's got to be an insider that knows like what offers getting made to certain coaches, and if they say no.
Yeah.
Like, was there an offer made before this, and then he was like, and whoever was made that offer was like, hell no, I'm not going to work for you. I'm not like, or even just like requests for interviews, and they're like, no, thanks, but no thanks, because of just David Tepper's like.
Yeah, like
reputation, right? Like, if you had an opportunity for a head coaching job as a coordinator or whatever, like, would you take it if it was with Carolina, just because of not the fact that like the team itself, but just the organization who's running the show?
Yeah. I mean, it's look, of all the places, was it fair to say going into this, we ranked this before, Carolina was the least likable destination? Did we? I think we all kind of said that.
We all agree.
Right?
without a doubt.
So, and right now, that's to me what's terrifying for a young coach that has done some tremendous things over the last couple of years. You're in a situation where you hope that there's patience, but you're just not too sure what's going to happen. But it can't get any worse, right? Like, it can't get any worse.
Oh,
than last
don't
year.
say that.
I mean,
Dude, there's only 0-16 is very possible. 0-17.
They were pretty
Yeah.
close to that.
17.
They were pretty close to that this year too.
All right, you know what? I'll bite my tongue here. But hey, Rock, let's get Rock on the screen here, because that's not the only move. The other coach that got hired besides Jim Harbaugh was Raheem Morris with the Atlanta Falcons, and Ravens fans are getting a little bit nervous, excited, anxious, because Raheem Morris took a spot, and two of the coordinators in Baltimore are still up for grabs, or maybe they're going to stay put in the Charm City.
Yeah, which is good. For every head coaching hire that gets made, it's a head coaching hire that doesn't involve Mike Macdonald or Todd Monken. Of the two, I think Mike Macdonald is more likely to get a head coaching position this season because of how young he is. But looking at Todd Monken and what he's done with Lamar Jackson, the development, especially this season, that is a guy that could work with a young, talented quarterback going forward. I'm not out here selling, hey, take Todd Monken or take Mike Macdonald to teams at all, Ravens fans. So don't get on me for that. But these are two guys that are hot commodities right now, or so it seems, with interviews and interview requests. But maybe it's just not the right fit for them. Or like Brad said, we don't know who's getting offers and who's not. But I'm sure if someone's got an offer on the table, an Ian Rappaport or an Adam Schefter would know about it and report it. Like with Raheem Morris, that offer was on the table from the Falcons. They put it out there, and then he decided to accept it. But for Raheem Morris, you got to feel some type of way, because back in 2020, I believe he got passed up for this exact opportunity and then went out to LA. So for him, it's like I would be coming back in with kind of a chip on my shoulder. Like, hey, this is what you guys were missing in not hiring me before. And they have talent. We talked about the Falcons, and they have talented skill players, talented people on the defensive side of the ball. But looking at that offense, it could be special with the right coaching and the right scheme. So Raheem Morris, while he has his work cut out for him in Atlanta, I think it's a pretty good position to walk into, where you have Drake London, where you have Kyle Pitts, where you have Bijan Robinson, where you have other guys that can really help you win football games down the stretch if you put the right team together and build around them. But for Macdonald and Monken, it's like, okay, like they didn't get hired by these teams. There's hope for Ravens fans right now that maybe, just maybe, they will get to keep both of these guys for at least one more season going forward. But we'll have to wait and see. There's still two head coaching vacancies still open right now.
And those two head coaching vacancies, the Commanders and the Seahawks right now, currently.